guys, what's going on, and welcome back to our channel. If you use an iPhone, chances are it was made at a sprawling factory complex in Zhengzhou, China, a city of about 9.5 million people in what is historically one of the country's poorest provinces, Henan. The factory, run by the Taiwanese electronics manufacturer Foxconn, employs about 350,000 people and produces about half of the world's iPhones. Wondering how the factory looks from the inside? Why wait for more? Let's head on to the inside look at Apple iPhone factory in China. The Foxconn Zhengzhou Science Park is more than 20 miles outside downtown Zhengzhou, separated by freeways, suburbs, and dirt scrublands. But with a workforce rivaling that of many US cities, the factory has sprouted what residents have dubbed iPhone City. There, factory workers live in dorms in 10 or 12-story buildings outside of Foxconn's gates, while a migrating workforce of entrepreneurs and vendors sets up shop below to make a living cooking street food, offering massages, or selling socks and other knickknacks. These places aren't like cities. Thomas Dinges, a senior principal analyst at the market research firm iSupply, told CKGSB Knowledge of the communities that form around Foxconn's factories, of which there are 12 in China. They are cities. With 1.3 million employees in mainland China, Foxconn is by far the country's largest private employer. More than 2.2 miles and dozens of buildings, the business park looks like any other. Trees are everywhere, police and security guards stand on every street corner, and workers on break camp out in the shade. A decade ago, this area had only dirt and fields of corn and wheat. In 2010, the government bought out local farmers and the factory was up and running within the year. Since it began producing iPhones for Apple in 2007, Foxconn has faced accusations of labor abuses, poor working conditions, and harsh penalties for workers who make mistakes. The complex was built in 2010 almost exclusively to serve Apple's iPhone production needs, with $600 million in assistance from the provincial government. Even now, the government provides Foxconn with tons of support, tax incentives, and subsidies to keep production in Zhengzhou. It paved new roads to the factory, built power plants, helped cover energy and transportation costs, and paid bonuses to the factory for meeting export targets. During the first 2 years of production, those bonuses totaled $56 million, the New York Times reported in 2016. The government even helped recruit, train, and house workers for the factory during peak iPhone production periods. In the summer months, a speaker can be heard near the entrance saying, "We're recruiting the cream of society. Your personality must be optimistic, your work diligent." Meeting Foxconn's never-ending need for workers requires considerable effort from the government. The province enforces quotas for the number of workers that local villages and cities must provide to the factory. In 2016, state-owned coal companies lent workers to the factory. And last year, the Financial Times reported that trade schools were requiring students as young as 16 to work at the factory to gain work experience to graduate. In the run-up to the launch of the iPhone X, many students were found to be working overtime, which is illegal under Chinese law. Every city's Department of Labor and Ministry of Human Resources is involved. Lu Miao, the head of a private recruiting center in Zhengzhou, told the Times in 2016. Workers on the day shift begin streaming in through the factory's gates at around 7 a.m. Those who can afford it ride motor scooters, but most walk from the nearby dorms or take a bus if they live in the buildings farther away. Foxconn's iPhone factory in Zhengzhou does final assembly, testing, and packaging, or FATP for short. That stage of manufacturing requires 400 steps to assemble the iPhone. Most workers do one task repeatedly all day, such as polishing the screen, soldering one component, or fitting a single screw into the back of the phone. One worker in charge of wiping a special polish onto the LCD screen told The Guardian that she handled 1,700 iPhones a day, or about 3 screens each minute for 12 hours a day.
I want them to know me, she says. I want them to know we put a lot of effort into this product, and when they use it, please use it with care.
Others with jobs like fastening chipboards may take up to a minute per iPhone, completing about 600 to 700 a day. Foxconn employees described work as the factory as mundane but hardly overwhelming, more boring and repetitive than anything else.
So what are the most egregious violations being made there?
Overtime.
The employees say that the people outside want a job, one employee told CNET, and people inside want to quit. The complex has wide boulevards for the many buses bringing workers in and the freight trucks carrying products out. The provincial government made the campus into a bonded zone, meaning the Chinese government views it as foreign soil. The arrangement allows Foxconn and Apple to virtually import and export goods to be sold in China or anywhere else in the world. Just outside the entrance gate is a makeshift district of low-slung storefront to serve factory workers who don't want to eat at Foxconn's canteen on campus. Many restaurant owners are former Foxconn employees or people from nearby villages who moved to capitalize on the new factory. Workers who are willing to take on the night shift see their monthly salary rise to as much as $785, including overtime. The non-profit Students and Scholars Against Corporate Misbehavior estimate that the living wage for iPhone workers should be around $650, meaning workers would need to take on tons of overtime to make ends meet. At 5 p.m., the day shift ends and workers stream out of the factory's gates. Because it's still the low season, there isn't that much overtime. The street becomes clogged with people, cars, motorbikes, and buses. Vendors set up shop along the road to get the business of the thousands heading home.
早上7点半到下午4点半嘛，一天8个小时，上完之后一天可以加2个小时班，加班下来最少也是这。
A short walk away is one of the sprawling dormitory complexes. There are at least a dozen 10 or 12-story apartment buildings. Small businesses that cater to the workers line the streets. There's everything the workers could want in this area. Food, massages, movies, everything. However, the worker had to say the wages are low, the days very long, the conditions quite bad. The industry wears out employees very quickly and recruits non-stop. For low-skilled jobs, the use of trainees and temporary workers is massive. In numerous interviews, Foxconn workers describe the factory as no worse than others in China, and in many cases, better. Li, a quality control checker on the iPhone assembly line in Zhengzhou, told the South China Morning Post that Foxconn was steadier than most other employers in China. It's clearly visible that it would be easy for Apple to balance things out and ensure a life of progress, dignity, and growth for the employers toiling away, just so we can marvel at the newest miracles of Apple's technology. Do give us your thoughts regarding all of this and whether you think the working conditions at the Apple factory in China are harsh or are just about reasonable. And while you're doing that, don't forget to hit that like button to show us some support and subscribe to our channel if you want more content such as this in the future. And with that, I'll be catching you guys later in another video. Bye now.